Hello everyone, it's Nick here with Nick's Hard Rock CD album review. Hope everyone's doing well. The album we're going to look at today is by Faith No More, and this is called King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. I'll just read the song tracks off this album. We've got Get Out, Ricochet, Evidence, The Gentle Art of Making Enemies, Star AD, Cuckoo for Kaka, Corral Ho Vaudois, I think it's pronounced, Ugly in the Morning, Dig in the Grave, Take This Bottle, King for a Day, What a Day, The Last to Know, and Just a Man. Now this album was released, it's their fifth album, Faith No More's fifth album, and it was released in March of 1995. Now this was the follow-up album to their critically acclaimed album Angel Dust, which is a mind-blowing album to say the least, and I've got that album and I'll do a review on that later on. But with this album, they did release three singles: Dig in the Grave, Ricochet, and Evidence. Now, as with Faith No More, they have so many different genres on their albums, even in their songs. Some of their songs can go from one extreme to the other. They have a real knack. They have a real knack for doing that, and it works so well. That's the thing. It always works really well. I should actually mention that Jim Martin, the original guitarist, he actually left the band after they did the world tour of Angel Dust. So Jim doesn't play on this album. Instead, they've got a guy called Troy Spunts, and he was a guitar player from Mike Patton, the lead singer, his other band, Mr. Bungle. So speaking of Mike Patton, I'll just introduce the band members here. Okay, we've got let's see. We've got Mike Borden, the drummer, Bill Gould, bass player, Roddy Bottom, keyboardist, and Mike Patton, lead singer. Yeah, so, and I actually noticed with this album, the first time I listened to it, that, and I still do to this day, it's got more guitars. It's more guitar orientated, this album, than previous albums. Don't get me wrong, I mean, as I said, Roddy, keyboardist. There are still keyboards on this album, but they're not as forefront as other Faith No More albums, but they're still there. They're a bit more subtle, to say the least. Now, in regards to the maybe lack of keyboards or whatever, the reason why is that Roddy, the keyboardist, he was going through a lot of personal issues at the time. His father died as well, so he wasn't exactly in the right headspace. But as I said, he's still there, so it's the main thing. Now, this album still did quite well. It may not have done as well as, especially their previous first two albums. It reached number 31 on the US Billboard 200 charts, which is still fine. Reached number 3 on the New Zealand charts and number 2 on the Australian charts. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but Faith No More always seem to do really well here in Australia and New Zealand. They still do well in the States. But I remember reading that Faith No More has a massive, strong fan base here in Australia and New Zealand. And that's why they keep coming down here. They keep coming back here, which is great. That's really good. I think this album might have gone. I didn't actually check, to be honest. I think it might have gone maybe gold or platinum album sales, but yeah. But still a fine album, don't get me wrong. Now look, my favourite tracks would have to be Ricochet. It's got a great rising chorus as Faith No More always seem to do, and the keyboard sound during that rising chorus just adds to the emotion and adds to the climatic rise of that sound. Now, the great song of this album is Evidence, and this song is a cool, laid back. It's almost got a little bit of a jazzy type feel to it. But as I said, this was one of their singles, but it's just got a great laid back sound to it. Let's see, another single, Dig in the Grave. That's just a straight up hard rock metal song by the guys who always do it well. The other one was King for a Day. That showcases Roddy, the keyboardist. Great use of keyboards and the piano. And and what he does with the keyboards and the piano creates this eerie sound. He does it so well. It really sounds good. Another favourite track, Just a Man. That's a great vocal singing by Mike Patton. And towards the end, they actually have a gospel choir singing sort of the background vocals towards the end of that song. So as I said before, Faith No More just continue to have so many diverse songs on their albums. You can go from straight up heavy metal, full on metal, to a song like Evidence, cool, laid back lounge type music. They can do funk as well. They have funk in their funk sound in their songs. They just do it so well, and that's why I've always been a real fan of them, because they are unique. I will say that they are unique. They have something about them, and that's why they were one of the most influential bands of the 1990s, and rightly so. And yes, I'm going to say it again. Mike Patton. So, Mike Patton, absolute genius. How he sings and what he can produce in regards to his singing. He never ceases to amaze me, that guy, and I could listen to him all day, and that's no exaggeration. I think his vocal style is just spot on. He can sound absolutely menacing and evil in his singing, but other songs he can sing like an absolute angel. His vocal range is incredible, and it's widely known about his vocal capabilities, and he's still got it to this day. I've watched stuff on YouTube and live concert footage. He has still got it, so it shows that he has really looked after his voice after all these years. And even when Faith No More were on a long break, quite a few years ago, Mike Patton was always doing something. He always had a side project, whether it was Mr. Bungle or something else. He had another band called Tomahawk, but he always had something else going on. And I remember an interview I read with him, he said that he can never sit still. He has to be doing something. Whether it's not Faith No More, it's got to be something else. But yeah, his vocal range is still there to this very day. And thank God he's taking care of his voice. So, look, as I said, this is a fine album. I'll be honest with you, it's not my favourite Faith No More album. But in regards to saying that, I don't dislike this album. I'm not saying it's a bad album at all. But there are other Faith No More albums that I think are a bit slightly better. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, so, and who cares? It's Faith No More, so that's amazing. It's Faith No More, so it doesn't matter. But in regards to a rating out of 10 for this album, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10. You can't go wrong with Faith No More. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but man, they are one hell of a band, and I'd love to see them live. It would be mind blowing. The stuff I've seen on YouTube is just phenomenal. It looks so good. It sounds so good. They are a tight band. They are really tight. Stuff I've heard. So yeah, there we go. Faith No More's fifth album, released in 1995. King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. So in regards to that, thank you very much for all your support and your comments, and I hope everyone's doing well. And I'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye bye.